Welcome to the All Canadian Reptile Girl with me, Annalise. Today we are going to be talking about just one of the many things that I think make snakes so cool. What is it? Let's find out. But first, thank you for watching today, and if you haven't already, please just slide down to the subscribe button. And on your way back up, can you please hit the thumbs up if you like what you're seeing on this channel. Let's get to it. How do snakes get around? I mean, I get around on my legs. My cats get around on their legs. Birds use their wings and their legs. Armadillos, possums, chupacabras, Bigfoot, you name it. Almost every terrestrial vertebrate gets around on their legs. Why? Because they work. Even ancient ancestors of snakes had legs. So why on earth would snakes lose their perfectly good legs to wriggle around on their bellies instead? That's crazy, right? I definitely wouldn't want to do that. The fossil record suggests to us that snakes have evolved from burrowing lizards, and big long limbs get in the way underground. So most burrowing animals just evolved shorter, more compact limbs to help them move through the soil. Now, ancient snakes took it a step further by removing legs altogether and using their body to move around, evolving it longer and longer to make up for the lack of mobility since they lost their legs. You could say they didn't have a leg to stand on. Oh, come on, you had to have seen that one coming. Anyway, it was only until fairly recently that scientists figured out exactly how snakes evolved this way. It was traced to a few changes in a specific gene, sonic hedgehog gene. You heard that right. Sonic hedgehog gene. Grown, professional, well-educated scientists named a gene after Sonic the Hedgehog. That is just awesome! I won't get into all the details because it gets very complicated and come on, I'm like 13. Basically, there are 3 mutations that shut off the development of limbs. In primitive snakes like boas and pythons, the mutations stop limb development after the hind limbs start growing. So, that is why boas and pythons still have legs. Yep, they have legs, just not well developed. So, I guess you could say they do have a leg to stand on. Ha! You can see these vestigial legs here, in the form of these teeny tiny little claws that are called spurs. They are so small and obviously have nothing to do with the snakes moving, but they do help with mating. So, how do snakes move? Easy, they slither. Thanks for watching the All Canadian Reptile Girl with me, Annalise. See you next time! Okay, obviously there's more to it than that. Here's what actually is going on. Humans, with our mighty arms and legs, have around 700 to 800 muscles. Not bad, pretty impressive, right? Yeah, not so much. Snakes have almost 20 times that. Usually in the neighborhood of about 10,000 to 15,000 muscles, and they use them all in incredible ways to get around. The type of movement that they use is all about getting the most amount of friction in the given situation. No matter what the motion is, the most important aspect is their scales. They seem pretty smooth and slippery, but if you run your hand backwards, you will quickly find that they generate a lot of traction. Aside from lying perfectly still, anything you see your snake doing is probably a combination of these movement types. Number 1. Lateral undulation. This windy side-to-side movement is probably what most people think of when they think of a snake moving. What they do is position their body in a series of curves. They can then use any part of them to push off whatever gives them the most traction, whether it be against a rock, a tree, sticks, or basically just anything around them that they can push off of. And they use the edges of these curves to give them enough traction to propel themselves forward. Because of this, they can achieve amazing speeds, and they can showcase their incredible agility. This is a very versatile method of transportation, and this is probably what they use most of the time when they are moving on ground. And this is exclusively what they use when moving in water. Number 2, rectilinear locomotion. Everybody's best buddy Monty uses this one a lot, especially when we let him outside to explore our backyard in the summer. Basically, what he does is he uses these wide ventral scales to walk his belly along. He lifts up one scale, rotates it forwards towards his head, and places it back down and uses the trailing edge to pull himself forward. Then he will do the same with the next scale, and the next scale, and the next scale, and so on. What you get is his belly doing this undulating motion. This type of locomotion is useful if there is not a lot of room, like in a burrow, or if they are moving through narrow spaces like between two rocks. It is super slow though, and not great for tracing down prey, but it is almost completely silent, so it's good for sneaking up on an unsuspecting meal. Number 3, Concertina. This seems to be Tituba's preferred method of travel. What she will do is she will draw up her back half into a series of tight curves. She will use this to brace herself as she pushes her head forward. Once fully extended, she will anchor with her upper half and draw her back end up again. Then she repeats this to move forward. This is a good, efficient method of travel for heavy-bodied snakes like Tituba will eventually be. Or this is good if there is not really enough room to do the normal serpentine motion. It is also a great way to cover distance on vertical surfaces. Climbing snakes will often use this method to get up trees or walls, or even rope. Number 4, sidewinding. This one is really cool. There are a lot of snakes that can do this if they need to, but only a handful that can do it well. The most familiar are probably the Sidewinder rattlesnake and the Saharan horned viper. For these species, this is often the only method of movement that works in most of their ecosystems. As desert dwellers, they spend a lot of their time on steep sand dunes. The normal snake movements would just cause the loose sand to collapse underneath them and run down the dune. It would be virtually impossible to hunt for prey, escape predators, or get to water. Sidewinding gets around this. Basically, instead of the side-to-side movement, they throw their S-curves up as well. You end up with this spirally movement. What it does is allows only a tiny part of the snake to be in contact with the sand at a time. So, as the sand slips, the next curve is already flung out with the next tiny piece of snake on sand. They end up moving in this weird loopy side-to-side motion that leaves straight tracks running perpendicular to the actual way that the snake traveled. This also allows the snake to have minimal contact with the hot sand. And I know that anyone who has had to run across a hot beach and barefoot can probably appreciate that. Number 5. Slide push. Like sidewinding, this is another method for traveling over areas with low friction. On flat, slippery surfaces, regular methods of travel don't really work well. When there is low friction, lateral undulation just results in the snake just slithering around helplessly in one spot. While hilarious for us to watch, it is probably very frustrating to the snake, and in the wild, probably life-threatening too. To move over slippery surfaces, snakes use the slide push method. They adopt a wide curve so that they can maximize all the traction they can get, and they push off with one side of their body. Then they push themselves sideways in a wide arcing curve, gaining a little bit of forward motion along with their big lateral movements. They will then repeat on the other side. It's a slow and steady wins the race kind of deal. But they will keep doing this until they reach a spot with enough traction to resume normal snake movement. So that is how snakes move in a nutshell. They have an amazing array of techniques to get them around in just about any scenario. It's really incredible when you think of how they have evolved to fit almost every single ecosystem. Another reason why they are just so cool. Thanks for watching me, the All Canadian Reptile Girl. Oh wait! I forgot! There is a 6th method of movement. Probably the coolest, or maybe the most terrifying if you're in a video globe. It's flying! Flying. Well, more accurately, gliding. This is used by the flying snake of Southeast Asia. They are a group of arboreal, slightly venomous colubrids ranging from 2 to 4 feet long. They will climb high into a tree, out onto a branch, and dangle themselves at just the right angle, and then they jump off. Once airborne, they will suck in their stomach and flatten out to about twice their normal width.
Let's suck in the guts, guys. We're the Ghostbusters.
This gives them a C-shaped profile that, along with lateral undulation, generates lift as they move through the air. Basically, they become one big, long, squiggly wing. Without limbs, external wings, or high-tech anti-gravity devices, flying snakes can glide over 100 meters farther than flying squirrels or any other gliding animals. The accuracy in hitting their landing spot is impressive too. They fine-tune their approach by slithering through the air and adjusting direction and altitude on the fly. Moving by land, sea, and air, snakes can do it all. As a group of animals, they have developed what I think is the coolest way of doing so much with so little. I think it's obvious that I love snakes, but I do understand that not everyone's a big fan of them. I hope that videos like this help give you an appreciation of how amazing these animals are. And if you are afraid of them, that this helps you understand them a little more and fear them a little less. Snake and reptile numbers are declining all over the world, and they need as many friends as they can get. That's it for today. Seriously. Thanks for watching me, the All Canadian Reptile Girl, and my snakes. Please don't forget to check out my other videos, and as always, please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and remember, nurture nature. See you next time. Bye. Seriously. Bye. How does snakes get around? I mean, I get around on my cats. Yeah, Great camera presence, half off the screen. Way to go. He's pooping. Oh, he's gonna spray it everywhere too, I bet. Oh! He sprayed it. Oh. Well, there's last week's mouse. He's so cute. How can anyone think this isn't adorable? I love him so much!
Okay.
Mhm.